Thank you, Dr. Barb. We really appreciate your wisdom and the price that you've paid to be able to help us be free and to take us on that heart journey. Today, I have two very special people that have dedicated their lives to helping others in a major way. They can't do it alone. They have to have partners because they are tackling some huge problems, things that we might not deal with in America. Well, we absolutely don't deal with things like malaria, polio, disease, babies dying, unclean water, no jobs, unemployment, absolute abject poverty. And it's a huge challenge. And yet they said yes to the Lord. And in 15 years, they are seeing the supernatural hand of God work in them. And so we want to hear from them today. We want to applaud them, and we want to set them up for success for the next 15 years of life and ministry in Uganda. Mike, Deb, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I know we're not supposed to move, but we're moving. Okay. these little fussy mics. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you.
Really, for everything that you do for the least of them and everything you do in obedience to God. It's no easy job to leave the comforts of America. True. And so many things that we take for granted. And you all are in the trenches and you're dealing with all kinds of issues, challenges, difficulties, and problems that we don't have to deal with here. Thank God. And yet you are just doing it so well. And thank you. Yeah. Okay, so for those that didn't have the delight of watching your previous programs, can you just share a little bit about the birthing of One City Ministries and just the call?
Mm-hmm. Want me to?
Yes.
I always do that. Well, the catalyst, of course, was we lost our 18-year-old son, Sean, back in July of 2007. And heartbreaking, life-changing, and all we have is God.
Yeah.
That's all you have. And you know, he's the joy maker, isn't he? And when you just surrender yourself to God, he helps you move on and do something with that pain. And we knew we needed to do that. And it was just a few months after we had lost Sean that God told us very clearly that we were going to Africa. Mission field was never my idea of a good time. I loved, Dale Mabry Highway, all the stores you can go to, inside plumbing, toilet paper, all those kind of things. And so, but it was as sure as I just knew that it was what we were supposed to do. And that was 15 years ago. We left in the month of October and started a new life there without knowing where we would live, if we'd have electricity, running water, all of the hard things.
Yeah.
But it was, God never left us alone there. He just was there to cushion that first year, everything.
Yeah.
And yes, supernaturally, everything, doors opened and wonderful things happened. And it's challenging and it's hard.
Yeah.
But he's always with us. He's always with us there. So.
Well, you just told the very, quick version. And, we've talked before, I lost my sister at 18 to a drunk driver. Sean, it was an overdose situation. You have two brokenhearted parents, and you certainly wouldn't have thought, you had a career, you guys were plugged into church, you had other children. That would not have been the narrative or the script that you thought would happen, that in your grief, the Lord would say, I have another life for you. And Sean's life will be redeemed.
Yes.
And it will count and it will matter. And I mean, it's hard enough for one person to hear from God, but for you both to hear from God. So what was that like when you knew, oh my goodness,
Well, you get confirmations along the way. It was not an overnight slam, but I come from a long line of missionaries and African pastors, so I've always had kind of a pull.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't
there
going
was
to.
resistance on this side.
You were the resistor.
She was, and then but tragedy hit, and that life perspective changes. And it wasn't long before I saw her coming out of Sean's room and saying, guess what? We're going to go to Africa.
Oh.
And so I did the typical thing to test the lamb's skin, and they all came back confirming that that's what we're supposed to do. Prayed and prayed, and yes.
Well, because of your obedience, 15 years later, I'm looking at the invitation, 15 years later, there's 18,000 patients that have been treated.
Yes.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
350 women graduating from an agricultural training program, 100 jobs on an annual basis, 256 artists that are supported by Africa, and it only takes one person. And this also touched me, 0 deaths from malaria in the last 6 years, where originally when you got there, initially 2 deaths, two children at least died a week.
Right.
And now in 6 years, 0.
Yes.
And so you are doing something that changes. I want us to show the video of the malaria video, that little clip in a minute to show people. But first, talk about this beautiful manger scene. I'm a manger scene girl. And this is about the people that you employ and the entrepreneurs of the Economic Empowerment Center.
Right. So we have, every year since we've been there, we run into artists. They come and find us. People are always looking for ways to make money there. And they knew we didn't do handouts. And so the very first year, we had some women that came to us with baskets. And instead of asking us for money, they asked, will we buy these baskets? And we said, oh, yeah, we will. And then people kept coming to us, wanting us to buy things. The first year we came back, the things were pretty rough. Because they were, circumcision knives and brooms and, crazy things. But they've gotten so much better. And all of the things that they do are usually made of natural products, from the natural things. This is all banana fiber from the banana trees. The little hut back there,
thing
all
is
of
made
these
of banana fiber.
This little box, banana fiber. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And so they do wonderful little things like this, beautiful. So it's manger scenes, ornaments, baskets. There's so many things, and wood carvings. And this one is yours after we're finished here today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I
think it will have a good home
with the light and make such a big deal. It's been a great way for the women and men to earn an income. Right.
And it's amazing to us too, because the very first thing they do when they're paid is they turn to their pastor, who's usually helping translate, and they give them their tithe.
That's wonderful.
So they do that immediately. And so it's been a wonderful program for us the whole time that we've been there. And we love it. It's a lot of work. But we'll have many things like this at our event.
So the night of the gala, there's going to be like tables and silent auctions and vendors.
We'll have all of this stuff there, yes.
Oh, amazing. Okay, tell me, this is so special. Tell me about the creator of this one.
This is a gentleman who runs a little organization of all disabled people. Most all of them have polio. Oh. And it's banana fiber, it's banana fiber, but also that's a bark cloth that they use. That's a long process that they use in Uganda. It kings wear the things made of the bark cloth. It's burial cloth. It's all kind of different things. It's very challenging to make it, but they do it. And they make these all kinds of different nativity huts and little hut ornaments, and just a great way for them to earn money, because they can't really do very much. Most of them can't walk. Oh. Some of them can only use one hand. They have a lot of disabilities from the polio. So this has been great to be able to work with them and help with an income. So we pay all of them. They get over fair trade market value for it. We bring it all here, sell it, and we take that back, and we put that all back into the Africa Trade Program to bring more artists up.
That's wild. That is so wonderful. So where do they work from? Do they have a factory? Do they have a location that they report?
We actually we built a special factory for this, but we found that the mamas were better off staying at home with the children.
Yeah.
And so that's all made in their homes.
Wow. So they're learning to be entrepreneurs.
They're learning to be entrepreneurs, and that's part of the process we take them through. We don't just buy the materials from them. We do what we call a consultative buy. We want to find out what do they have invested in that product, because a lot of them will sell products for less than they cost them to make it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not sustainable.
No.
So we would have to consult with them, saying, you know what, you want to sell this for 5,000 shillings. We need to pay you 10,000 shillings just so you can make some money with this thing and move on, buy the next, and then move on from there. So it's a great program to empower people and to get them on their feet.
I love that. And when my husband and I pastored, There's many people that had been exposed to your ministry. And by the way, I want you to go on right on the bottom part of the screen. You see onecityministries.org. And so if you can't come to the gala, I want you to go look at their ministry, support their ministry, pray for their ministry, purchase things for their ministry, because it is a good investment. And it is a God investment, and it's beautiful. But I would see things, but it just keeps getting more and more elaborate. It keeps getting.
They're getting better and better. Yeah.
Yeah, and these little stars.
And
Tell
all
me
of
about
those.
these.
Those are made by. There's a young man who actually teaches younger kids that are trying to earn school fees. So he does all these different. He does star animals or bead animals, and then these ornaments that I just love. And these young, mostly boys, are able to earn school fees. That's a huge thing for people there. The kids really want to go to school, but no one can afford it. Parents can't afford it. So when they can earn the money for themselves, they can use that to pay school fees and all of their things that they need. So.
Well, I pray that there's people watching that will get their children to invest in other children. We're so entitled. We're so just the Western mindset. We're so blessed, and yet we can't even comprehend a child having to create something to pay for school, or a mom having to get a banana piece of paper just so that she can feed her children.
Yes.
And yet there's a whole world out there. Do you mind if we show the video now on the malaria clip? Because that's one of your big projects. Do you want to set up the video, Mike?
Well, this is talking about a program that we have partnered with USF on. Genius engineers and scientists came together with us. You talked about malaria, and you talked about the amount of years it's been since the last time we've had deaths from malaria. That's an interesting story because, our DNA is not to give handouts. So most people want to give medications and stuff, but that's not what we did. We empowered the people to understand where it came from in the first place. We turned down their lights so they could see what causes malaria and how to prevent it.
Wow.
And then we gave them the economics backbone to be able to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So they could respond quickly. When their child comes down with malaria, they need to respond pretty quickly because a child, especially under the age of 5, goes over the cliff very, very fast.
Yeah.
They need the medicines and need them quickly to be able to pull them out of that problem. So they learned that, they did it, and they acted on it, and we saw some amazing results based on empowerment, not handouts.
Yeah, and that is the key. I think there's a season when we've done handouts, but the key is the education, the informing, the helping, giving them understanding, because then that breaks a generational cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you break it, and it'll last. It'll go on from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that takes a huge commitment on you all. You're there 9 or 10 months a year, and you come back here just to say hi to your other family and fundraise and share with partners and get new alliances, and then you go right back.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at this clip.
If you could help save 500,000 innocent children every year, I would like to think that you would. At One City Ministries, that's exactly what we are doing. To take it on ourselves would be impossible. So we are looking for Christians and like-minded philanthropic individuals that have the ability to help a united effort and to create a legacy that could save 2.5 million children over the next 5 years. We have partnered with scientists at the University of South Florida and are implementing an economically sound and environmentally friendly solution to wipe out malaria. From $1 to $1,000, anything will help. These deaths are preventable, and we need help from as many people as possible to turn this life-saving science into life-saving action.
Action's the key. So, Mike, just to put it in perspective, how many children die a year in Uganda of malaria?
The sad part is we really don't know because the diagnostics isn't there. The post, it's just not there. So we don't know for sure. At least 825,000.
Wow.
It's a little low in that.
Every 30 seconds.
Every 30 seconds, a child dies of malaria in sub-Saharan Africa, which is where we're at.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's preventable.
Yes.
And we can do something about it.
Now we can.
Yes.
This is we have reached that point where now there's no excuses.
Yeah.
We can act on this. We can do it. We can make it happen.
Yeah.
Save a lot of lives.
Well, you guys have labored and plowed and labored and plowed, and it's starting to turn that corner where you can actually document that, okay, 0 malaria deaths in the last 6 years, and that is awesome. Listen, I want you guys to, if you are local, anywhere, locally, even if you have to get a plane, come to this gala. Mike and Deb do a class act. And so they're bringing in people from Uganda. They're bringing in a ballet, right?
Yes, yes.
A comedian. So
comedian.
you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to
Do the whole
tell
thing.
us a little bit about the evening.
Okay. We do have the Dundu Dole, Urban African Ballet. They're an amazing dance troupe and drummers, and you feel like you're in Africa. And so we've had them before, but they're wonderful. And then we also have Andrew Stanley, who is the son of Andy Stanley.
Oh, wow.
He's a
the
stand-up.
grandson of
Yeah,
Charles
the
Stanley.
grandson of Charles.
That's impressive.
Yes.
That's enough to come just for that.
There you go.
right?
And he's a stand-up comedian, which is really funny. And he is funny. So he will be there, and that'll be great to see him. And then we do have Tony and Rose. And Tony is an attorney, a
Okay.
young Ugandan man who really beat the odds. And his wife, Rose, is a doctor, scientist. She likes to work hand in hand with things that Mike does with malaria and all the different things to prevent it. Brilliant young couple. And so we really wanted them to be able to come and share their testimony. And then just a lot of, fun, inspiring stories through the evening. Probably more surprises.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, shopping, Africa Trade shopping,
Yeah.
and a delicious dinner, but so a whole evening. There's a whole evening. worth
What
of-
a great place to Christmas shop,
Yep,
right?
it is, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
we
And it's
need
all for good. Yeah.
Exactly. Shopping with a cause. That's
Yes.
my kind of shopping.
Yes.
And I personally would love to see you debut your comedy career that night because you are hilarious.
She keeps me in.
I'm being cave right now.
Well, let me tell you, you during COVID, you were my comic relief. I'm like, she's saying things I wish I could say. You were hilarious. I don't know if you know, you brought me so much joy.
Aw, thank you. I'm happy
You-
about that.
Really. So that's my request. I'd like you to, or next year, maybe you could be the featured one.
I don't want to make Andrew look bad.
I know,
it's-
I know. And you're also a coffee lover. Which
am a coffee lover.
Oh, I love that.
And we have the best Ugandan coffee.
Well, will it be for sale that
Did I
night?
know that? No, but I will get you a bag.
Oh,
We
I'll-
can make that
Yeah.
happen now.
Okay.
We don't have really enough.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about two things. I want to talk about your greatest challenge, and I want to talk about what you're most proud of.
Okay. You want the greatest challenge?
Well, we can address both, I think.
Okay.
If we have time.
Okay.
Greatest challenge is government intervention.
Yeah.
They are both our allies and our adversaries.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Uganda is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And it's going through a financial hardship. And so they're looking for money any place they can find it. And so they come to us to try and get it. And those are donor dollars. We are very, very, very careful with donor dollars. We make every penny stretch to the furthest part we can possibly do. We're not going to put it in their pockets.
Yeah.
They don't understand that quite. So it's always a
Tug of war.
tug. But yeah, we have been through many battles. This is not, as a matter of fact, our lawyer, Tony, will be there and he can talk about that. Phenomenal man. So he's our pride and joy. We've been through the battles.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a surprise. When we talk about that in America, people are surprised by that. You're coming there to do their work and help them, but
It's
they
challenging.
want it today.
Yeah.
They want that money today
Yeah.
in their pockets.
Yeah.
So it's really hard.
Well, and that's a great prayer point that those that are listening can really pray over that.
Absolutely.
God is able.
Absolutely.
Yes. I think that is the sad part about that too for me was that you feel like that you could be partnering with the government,
Yeah.
that they want to see their people do well.
Yeah.
But you realize after a bit of time that they really want to keep their people ignorant and in poverty.
Yeah.
And that's so sad to us because we are working so hard with the people and the people want to be empowered and raised up. So that was definitely a huge heartbreak and disappointment. But I think
Well, I'm just going to say, we do partner with the government. Matter of fact, we just signed an MOU putting the full responsibility of taking care of the malaria problem in all of Uganda.
Wow.
That's a memorandum. So we have a memorandum that states we are partners with Uganda to do this, and yet, but there's such a fragmented society that
Yeah.
not everybody knows the right hand and never knows what the left hand. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dear.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine. I'll get even with you later. But I think also Most proud. 'Cause,
Yes.
you know, we can do challenges all day long, I'm sure. I think a couple things for me is just being able to be in relationship, in such close relationship with the community
Yeah.
around us. They love us, we love them.
Yeah.
And every day they will come to us and tell us how their lives have changed, how terrible it would be if one city wasn't there, how much they love us, and you know, just genuinely. And we're not giving them anything; we're
Yes.
teaching them what they can do themselves, because we won't always be there,
That's
and we want
right.
them to be able to do. And I think so. We opened the Sean Gilbert Memorial Medical Center in August,
Yeah.
finally this year, and it has been so wonderful. First, because it is in honor and memory of our son, and we get to share that story all the time, and just knowing that people are coming from far to be healed there, to be prayed
Amen.
over, and they feel
Amen.
it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
As far as proud goes,
Yeah.
it's different for me.
yeah.
I'm proud to be involved in what God is doing.
Yes.
That's my pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very pleased with what He's doing.
Yeah.
So I leave it at that. It
Yeah.
just-
Well, God is very proud of the two of you, and I'm proud of you.
thank you.
And I appreciate you. And I just encourage everybody, I wish we could talk more, but go to onecityministries.org, support the Gala, support their ministry, pray for them, support the opening of this new medical center. And that is how people come home. They come home to the heart of God through that. We'll see you next time. I'm Jen Mallon.